Assalamu alaikum students. I hope you all are fine and taking all the advantage from the lectures that are being uploaded. Today we are starting with the next lecture of chapter number 17, Alkyl Halides and Amines. I'm your teacher, Ms. Nadia Rouf from Army Burnhall Girls College, Ahmedabad. And in today's lecture, we are going to study another type of alkyl halide reactions, that is elimination reactions. We have studied in the previous lecture about SN reactions, substitution reactions. That was first kind. This is the second kind of reactions of alkyl halides, which is called elimination reaction. Again, like SN reactions, this one has got two types. Number one is E1 reactions and E2 reactions. We are going to study them in detail, and in the end, we will see which kind of reaction will happen under which conditions. Recall from your previous lecture, I have told you in the previous lecture as well that alkyl halides undergo two kind of reactions. When alkyl halide is acting as a substrate and it is being attacked by a nucleophile. Now there are two possibilities for alkyl halide to undergo two kind of reaction. The first one is substitution reaction, in which halide ion will be the leaving group and this nucleophile will substitute itself at its place. This is what we have studied in detail in the previous lecture. In the next type of reactions, this halide has to move. This halide has to leave the molecule. It is the leaving group. And when it is lost from the molecule, this halide ion, when it is lost from the molecule, then after that, there is another loss of hydrogen from the carbon which is adjacent to the functional group carbon atom, or we can say it is the beta carbon atom which has got some hydrogens attached with it, and hydrogen will be lost. Nucleophile is now going to pick up a proton or hydrogen which is lying next to the carbon atom which was holding this halide ion. So these kind of elimination reactions are also called as beta elimination reactions, because one of the halogen is lost from the terminal end or wherever it is present, and from the adjacent carbon atom a proton is lost which is being picked up by the nucleophile. So these kind of reactions are called elimination reactions. Now we are going to study elimination reactions in detail and its various kinds as well. You have studied about elimination reactions previously in the previous lectures as well. For example, you have studied about dehydrohalogenation, you have studied about dehydration. These are also type of elimination reactions, from where in these reactions from adjacent carbon atoms two molecules are eliminated. For example, you are familiar with this kind of reaction. This was studied in the preparation of alkenes. When one of the molecule or halogen is lost from one of the carbon, the second hydrogen is lost from the adjacent carbon atom, and this is released, this is removed, and double bond is prepared in between. These were also kind of elimination reaction. Now same will happen in alkyl halides. Again, the resultant product is going to be an alkene. Now let's focus our attention on elimination reactions of alkyl halides. Elimination reactions in alkyl halides are of two types, E2 reactions and E1 reaction. Let's study E2 reactions now. Consider this molecule. This is 1-bromo-1,1-dimethyl ethane. This is a ethane molecule having two carbon atoms, and there are two alkyl groups attached with it. So this is a secondary alkyl halide. When it is being treated with a strong base, any hydroxide, then what will happen? This bromide ion is a leaving group. It will be lost, and this nucleophile or a strong base right now is going to take away a hydrogen or proton from the neighboring carbon atom, and the resultant molecule is going to be 2-methyl propene. This is a 2-methyl propene having 1, 2 and 3 carbon atom, and a double bond is introduced at the place from where bromine and hydrogen has been lost. In this reaction, the rate law is depending upon, or the rate of reaction is depending upon the concentration of both of the reactants. If concentration of reactant 1 is increased and reactant 2 is increased, in both of the cases rate of reaction is increased or it becomes double. So such kind of reactions, rate law is written in this way, where it is equal to rate constant into concentration of reactant A and reactant B. So this is example of E2 reaction. E stands for elimination and 2 stands for bimolecular, because rate is depending upon the concentration of two molecules. And do remember, again, it is a one-step process. Let's see mechanism of E2 reactions now. In the mechanism, you will see that if the same molecule is being shown to you, it is having bromine attached with one of the carbon atom, and there is, you can see, a methyl group attached with it, and this is another methyl group attached, and at the rear end there can be one hydrogen. So when this base is going to come near this molecule, bromine is being lost, you can see from the arrows, and this hydrogen or proton is being abstracted by a base, which is property of a base to abstract a proton. This bond, when it will be broken up, this bond is going to create a double bond between these two carbon atoms, and you will see, because bromine has been lost and proton is lost as well, so double bond will be created between these two carbon atom, and the structure produced is going to be this one. You can see this is a proton that is being removed, bromine is being eliminated as well, and this is a one-step reaction. There are two molecules involved in this step, that's why it is called E2, and it is overall a one-step reaction. I hope mechanism is clear to you in this picture, but if not, let me elaborate it to you by showing all of the bonds. Do remember, girls, this E2 mechanism is done in the strong base at a very high concentration, such as 1 molar NaOH in water is usually taken for E2 mechanism. Let me show you all of the bonds. This is the concerted mechanism of E2 reactions that is being shown. Concerted mechanism means the mechanism in which all of the bond breaking and bond making happens only in one step, and as we know that E2 are one step reactions, so that's why this mechanism is also called as concerted mechanism. In this reaction, you can see this is the molecule being shown having a bromine attached. Hydroxide is going to attack it from the side opposite to the side where bromine is present, because it has to abstract a proton. It is going to take away a proton and it will be converted into water. This molecule will be broken up. Bromine is lost in the form of bromidine, and double bond is being made between two of the carbon atoms. Now hydrogen is lost in the form of proton. That means it is not taking away its electron with it for bond making. This electron is being provided by hydroxide, which is already negatively charged. So these electrons which are left on the carbon atom, they will be utilized for a double bond formation between two of the carbon atom. I hope mechanism is now clear to you people. As this whole reaction is happening in one step, so let's see what are kinetics of E2 reaction. This reaction is a second order bimolecular reaction, because in the rate law we have seen rate of reaction is depending upon the concentration of both of the reactants. So this is a second order reaction, or it is called bimolecular reaction. Exactly like SN2 reactions which were following a transition state, E2 reactions will also follow will proceed through a transition state formation, in which this hydroxide ion is going to take away hydrogen, and simultaneously this bond is being made. Simultaneously this bond between carbon and hydrogen will start becoming weak enough, and the bond between these two carbon atoms will start making, and this bond is being broken up. So it is again shown by the dotted line. Ultimately bromide is lost, ultimately this whole molecule water is lost, and a double bond is formed between two of the carbon atom. So this also occurs through a transition state formation, exactly like SN2 reactions. Having understood completely the E2 reactions, now move on towards E1 reactions. E1 reactions are elimination unimolecular. Again, consider the same molecule, that is 1-bromo-1,1-dimethyl ethane. When it is being treated with water instead of hydroxide, water is a polar solvent, hydroxide is present but its concentration is extremely low. So water as a polar solvent will act as a base right now, and it is going to abstract a proton from the neighboring carbon atom, and again the product effect will be same. Alkene will be produced. Along with that, 2-methylpropene and hydronium ion and bromide ions will be lost in this reaction. If we study the reaction kinetics, we would get to know that if concentration of first reactant is increased, the rate of reaction is also increased. But if concentration of water, which is acting as a solvent, its concentration is not going to affect the rate of reaction. So concentration of 2 is doubled, the rate of reaction is not doubled. So in that case, how can you write the rate law? The rate of reaction is depending only upon the concentration of one of the reactants. So that's why these reactions are called E1, where E stands for elimination, 1 stands for unimolecular. These are E1 reactions. Now let's see the mechanism of E1 reactions. Again, E1 is a two-step mechanism in which this alkyl halide, you can see in the first step, this bromide ion will be lost and this alkyl halide will be converted into carbocation having a positive charge. This water in the next step is going to take a proton, and from carbocation, when there is a positive charge present here and this hydrogen is lost without an electron, so this electron which is left behind over here with the carbon atom will be utilized to make a double bond in the second step, which is going to be a fast step. So this whole reaction mechanism is preceded by two steps. First step is slow step, another step is the second step is the fast step. And as we know that slow step is the rate determining step, and the molecule which is involved in the rate determining step is only one. So that's why these reactions are called E1 reactions, because it is a two-step process having rate determining step in which carbocation is made. I think now you can imagine really well that first step of SN1 reaction and E1 reactions are same. The second step is different. In proton is being abstracted by a water molecule in E1, but in SN1 nucleophile was attaching itself with the carbocation. So this is the difference only that lies here. Now let me show you the mechanism of this reaction by showing you all of the bonds. Again, you have to see reaction conditions that are very important. This will happen in the presence of a strong base such as 0. Again, base is sodium hydroxide, but its solution is really weak. It is 0.01 molar. In the previous reaction, EU2 reactions, the base utilized was same, but its molarity was 1 molar. It was quite a concentrated one. Right now, basic solution is really weak, so that's why we are considering water as a base right now, and water is abstracting a proton instead of sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide has got a very, very less concentration of hydroxide in the water right now. Now let me show you the mechanism. This is the first step, which is slow and rate determining step, in which first step will be the same as was happening in SN1 reactions, where bromine is being lost and we have got a carbocation formed. This is a slow step, and unimolecular means one molecule is involved. That's why these reactions are called unimolecular reactions. In the second step, this carbocation will be attacked by water molecule, which along with a lone pair of electron is going to pick up a proton, which will lose its electrons to carbon atom, and these electrons will be utilized for bond making between two of the carbon atom, and this will be lost in the form of a hydronium ion. So this is the mechanism. This is the second step, which is fast step, and it is not the rate determining one. So that's why this is called E1 reaction or unimolecular reaction. Let's see reaction kinetics now. In reaction kinetics, we would see that this reaction is usually occurring in the presence of either a weak base or under neutral conditions. So that will be first order E1 mechanism, and it will be unimolecular. Rate law can be written in this way: rate equals to rate constant into concentration of only one of the substrate. Water is not being shown here. So this reaction, the first step is slow step and it is rate determining. So of course this is first order reaction, or its order of the reaction is 1 only. After understanding E1 and E2 reaction, let's see what are the products formed in a case of elimination reactions. If, for example, we are taking this molecule in which bromine is attached with the carbon atom, which is secondary. It is attached with further 2 more carbon atoms, and it is being treated with any of the base, like O negative ion is acting as a base right now. So the product formed will be this O negative is going to pick up hydrogen. Beta hydrogens, this is the carbon atom with which functional group is attached. So this carbon atom is beta carbon and this carbon atom is also beta carbon atom. So hydrogens can be, there is a possibility that hydrogens can be lost from both of the positions. If for example bromine is lost from this point and hydrogen is lost from first carbon atom, in that case double bond will be produced between carbon number 1 and carbon number 2, and this will be the product produced, which will be called 1-butene. But in case if hydrogen is removed from this carbon atom, this beta hydrogen is removed, because there are 2 beta hydrogens right now. Now what will happen, double bond will be created between these 2 carbon atoms and 2-butene will be formed. Now there are 2 stereoisomers we can say, or conformational isomers of butene are being shown here, in which this is cis isomer and this is the trans isomer, in which alkyl groups are present on the opposite side and here alkyl groups are present on the same side. So 30% of cis product, 50% of trans, and only 20% of 1 alkene will be produced. So we can say that major product of this reaction is 2-butene, that is 80% of 2-butene is being produced, out of which the major concentration is of transalkene, trans 2-butene, and 1-butene is very less, that is almost 20%. Why? You know the reason already, and the reason is that the most substituted, we can say, alkenes are more stable, and among those we know that trans alkenes are more stable as compared to cis alkenes, so trans product is more predominant one. Along with that, this oxide ion has taken away a hydrogen and bromide ion is also lost. The most stable alkene is the major product of the reaction, and we are not considering the minor products or the byproducts usually. Greater is the number of alkyl substituent, more stable is the alkene, and among those even trans alkene will be more stable. In both E1 and E2 reactions, tertiary alkyl halides are most reactive and primary alkyl halides are the least reactive ones in both of them. The difference lies with the concentration of base utilized. If it is being utilized in the neutral conditions, in the polar solvents, neutral conditions, product will be different and mechanism will be different. And if we are using polar solvent, that is water, in that case different mechanism will be utilized for the formation of product. Some important things related to E1 reactions are, these reactions proceed under neutral conditions where a polar solvent will help to stabilize the carbocation intermediate. This solvent also acts as a weak base and removes the proton in the fast step, as you have seen in the mechanism of E1, where water as a polar solvent was taken and this was acting itself as a weak base and it was removing the proton. This type of reactions are called solvolysis reaction. Solvolysis means where solvent is utilized for bond breaking. Tertiary substrate will usually go by E1 in the polar solvent with little or no base present. If there is a tertiary alkyl halide present, in that case it will undergo elimination reaction by E1 mechanism, and usually polar solvent is taken, water is taken. Either you can use the base or you cannot use the base, it's okay, water will itself act as a solvent even. Typically, polar solvents can be water, it can be ethanol, methanol, or acetic acid. The most available one is water, so usually water is utilized. These polar solvents will help to stabilize the carbocations as well. And E1 reaction, do remember, they will occur in the very low concentration of base or almost no base. Even if no base is present, even then they would happen. That is almost 0.01 molar NaOH. And we know about E2 reactions by having concentration of base which is quite high, that is almost 1 molar concentration. Let's see what is structure of carbocation intermediate, which is very important in both of reactions, that is elimination reactions and SN reactions as well. This is structure of carbocation. Carbocation means it is the molecule from which a halogen group has been removed. Halogen has taken away electronic pair with itself, so this orbital will be now empty, we would say, or it won't have any electron. That's why there is a positive charge present. This orbital is present, but its charge is positive right now. It has got no electrons in it. We can say that molecule has changed its tetravalency from sp3 hybridization. It has been changed into sp2 right now, because attached with three things only. This one is completely vacant. This is the structure of carbocation intermediate. Now this carbocation intermediate, its reactivity is also very important, or its stability is also very important. We know that this has been discussed in the starting lectures of this chapter, that tertiary alkyl halides are usually more stable as compared to secondary or primary alkyl halides, or you can say tertiary carbocations are more stable as compared to secondary or primary carbocations. It is usually hard, but it is not impossible to get primary compounds to go by E1 mechanism. The reason for this is that primary carbocations are not very much stable. Secondary and tertiary are more stable. So usually whenever carbocation is present in the molecule, it can undergo reaction by some rearrangement as well. Kinetics of E1, we already know that E1 reactions usually proceed by a unimolecular reactions, and the rate law is depending only upon the concentration of alkyl halide. The solvent will have help to stabilize the carbocation, but it will not appear in the rate law. The carbocation that I have shown you in the previous slide, this solvent will help this carbocation to stabilize itself. Usually it can be done in the presence of either solvent, or if solvent is not present, in that case carbocation can rearrange itself as well. Stereochemistry of products is very important. Even reactions usually give thermodynamically more stable product as the major product. This means that larger groups should be on the opposite side, as you have been watching in the previous slides, that trans product was the major product. So this is the stereochemistry of products is also very important in case of elimination reactions. Usually there is a competition between the substitution reactions and elimination reactions. Why there is a competition? Because both of the reactions are very important for the formation of different products, and both type of reactions have close resemblances in their mechanism as well. But substitution is more favorable energetically. It is the dominant reaction in substitution and elimination reactions, because in substitution reaction there is only one bond that has to be broken up. In elimination reaction, two bonds are to be broken up. One of them is with the halogen and other one is the hydrogen bond. So more energy is required for the bond breaking as compared to the energy released in the bond formation. So substitution is usually more favored. Elimination reaction will occur only in the presence of beta hydrogen, whereas substitution reactions do not require this condition to be satisfied. But their mechanisms are same, so that's why usually SN1 reaction will compete with the elimination reaction E1, because both of them are following first order kinetics. Similarly, E2 kind of reactions are going to be competing with the SN2 kind of reactions, because both of them are following second order kinetics, or their order of the reaction is 2. But among both, whenever there will be a carbocation present, and you know carbocation is present in E1 and SN1 kind of reactions, they can either undergo elimination reactions after the formation of carbocation. There is possibility for carbocation to either undergo elimination, or it can undergo substitution. It can rearrange itself as well, and after that it can undergo either elimination or it can undergo substitution. What is meant by rearrangements? I'm using this term again and again. Alkyl groups in hydrogen, sometimes they can migrate in rearrangement reactions to give more stable intermediate carbocation. If carbocation is present on any of the carbon atom which is at the terminal ends, of course it is not that stable, so there will be some rearrangement in the hydrogen atoms or alkyl groups which are present nearby, so that they can convert this less stable carbocation into a more stable carbocation. Let's compare various conditions under which E1 and E2 reactions can move on. Usually E1, or I would say it's just a summary of both of them. E1 is a stepwise mechanism. There can be 2 or even more steps in that. There is always a carbocation intermediate formation. E2 is a concerted mechanism, that is only one step mechanism and there is no intermediate involved. E1 may give rise to rearranged products even after formation of carbocation. Carbocation can undergo rearrangement, as I have told you just now. In E2 there is no possibility for any kind of rearrangement. Alcohol dehydration we have studied already in the formation of alkenes that are also kind of even elimination reactions. Now let's see under which conditions competition occurs between substitution reactions and elimination reactions. For that we have to choose one of the alkyl halide as a typical reference. For example, we are usually taking a secondary alkyl halide. We use a typical Lewis base. Any alkoxide ion is usually taken. Major reaction for a secondary alkyl halide with alkoxide ion is elimination by E2 mechanism. Now if we keep on changing the substrate and the base, we will see how elimination will be favored or substitution reactions will be favored. Well, let's take a typical example of a secondary alkyl halide. When it is being treated with a base, ethanol, this is sodium ethoxide. In fact, at 55 degrees centigrade, we see there are 2 products formed. One of them is elimination product, that is alkene, and other one is the substitution product. And under these conditions, consider these conditions are typical conditions and typical substrate and typical base. Under these conditions, the major product is elimination product, that is propene has been produced. How this alkene has been produced? Let's see the diagram of this one. This is a typical alkyl bromide. This is secondary alkyl bromide that I've shown you in the previous slide. It is being treated with sodium ethoxide. This is the ethoxide ion that is released from sodium ethoxide. When it undergoes E2 kind of reaction, it is going to abstract a proton and product will be formed. Bromine will be the leaving group. If it is undergoing SN2 kind of reaction, that is substitution may occur as well. In that case, what will happen? This ethoxide base will have to attack this molecule and it will attach itself over here where bromine will be lost in the reaction and product can be produced. This one is a difficult process because substitution is not very much favored over here. Elimination will be favored because this is a bulky group and there are 2 other bulky groups attached. So that's why it is not that much of importance for us. Keeping in your mind this compound, we will see when will substitution be favored. Given that the major reaction of a secondary alkyl halide with alkoxide is elimination by E2 mechanism, as I have told you just now, we can expect the proportion of substitution to increase with the decreased crowding at the carbon that bears the leaving group. Means the substrate should be less crowded. If there is less crowding or if it is a primary substrate, then in that case substitution can occur. But if the crowding is increased, alkyl groups or bulky groups are attached and the substrate is changed from primary to secondary or tertiary later on, then elimination will be favored. So substitution is favored by less crowding. Let's see example for this one. In this example, if we see an uncrowded alkyl halide, we will see decreased crowding is going to favor the substitution in relation to elimination. Let's see a primary alkyl halide which has got very less crowding with the leaving group. Carbon which is bearing a leaving group is having very less crowding. So it can undergo substitution reaction in the presence of ethanol at 55 degrees centigrade, and you will see this substituted product is the major product and elimination is the least product or the minor product in this case. But instead of that, if crowding is occurring at a base, the alkoxide base that we are using, if that is too much crowded, if it is having too much of branching, then in that case, even if primary alkyl halide is present, then elimination will be favored, then substitution will not occur. Let's see the same reaction now. Primary alkyl halide with a bulky base. For example, this is a primary alkyl halide and this is a bulky base, like as you have observed in the previous reaction, that was sodium ethoxide. Right now this is a tertiary butyl group, tertiary butoxide ion with potassium, so it is called potassium tertiary butoxide. So this or tertiary butyl alcohol can also be taken at 40 degrees centigrade. This reaction is going to favor the elimination product, you will see substitution product over here is very less, that is 13%, and elimination product you can see is now the abundant product and it is 87%. So in general terms, we can say that crowding on the substrate favors elimination reaction, and crowding on the base, alkoxide base, also favors elimination reaction. So crowding will be favoring the elimination reaction in case of both substrate and base. Now see what will happen when the nature of base is changed. For example, if we see, we are using a weakly basic nucleophile. Weakly basic nucleophile usually increases the substitution and in comparison to elimination. For example, let's take a secondary alkyl halide and treat it with a weakly basic nucleophile, that is potassium cyanide. Its basicity is quite less. In that case, substitution is the major product and 70% of substituted product is being produced. So strong bases will favor elimination reactions and weak bases will favor substitution reaction, in other words. The next factor which is very important in this regard is the nature of leaving group. The leaving group, if for example it is either chloride, bromide or iodide, any leaving group can be there, and there are some other leaving groups as well. The role of leaving group is very important in elimination reactions, similarly as it was important in substitution reactions. In unimolecular reaction, it will not affect the mechanism because both elimination and substitution products are decided with carboniamine or carbocation. Then in that case, leaving group is not important. It has been lost before the formation of carboniamine, and carboniamine is the one that is going to decide the product. So but in bimolecular reaction, nature of product greatly depends upon the nature of leaving group. For example, you can see in this example, if the leaving group here is bromide and this is tosylate leaving group, and you have been told in the previous lectures that tosylate is a very good leaving group. So in that case, in case of good leaving groups, then substitution product is the major product and elimination product is the least product. But if we haven't got a good leaving group like bromine, in that case elimination is the major product and substitution is the minor product, because it is not a good leaving group, it cannot leave. So what base is going to do? Base is going to abstract a proton instead of forcing the leaving group to leave. So it will be abstracting a proton and it will make the elimination product, that is an alkene. Another very important factor in this one is the nature of solvent that is being utilized. Elimination is favored more than substitution by decreasing the solvent polarity. Thus, alcoholic KOH will affect elimination, while more polar aqueous potassium hydroxide, it is used for substitution. Whenever you are using alcoholic KOH, do remember in that case elimination will be favored. E1 is favored by polar solvents like SN1 reactions. In non-polar solvent, reaction will follow E2 mechanism. Effect of temperature is also important. As I told you earlier, that elimination requires breaking of two bonds. So if we increase the temperature, elimination reactions will be favored over substitution reaction. Substitution reaction involves less reorganization of bonds as compared to elimination reactions. For example, when rest all of the conditions are same, in that case at 45 degrees centigrade, elimination product is 53% and substitution product is 47%. There is almost equal percentage of both of them. But at 100 degrees centigrade, there is more product, that is substituted product is less and elimination product is more at a higher temperature. So these are some of the important factors that favor the elimination over substitution reactions. Now let's summarize some points regarding substitution reactions and elimination reaction. Alkyl halides undergo two kinds of nucleophilic substitutions, that is SN1 and SN2, and two kinds of eliminations, that is E1 and E2. SN2 and E2 are bimolecular and they are one-step reactions. SN1 and E1 are unimolecular and they are two-step reaction. SN1 leads to mixture of stereoisomers and SN2 inverts the configuration of asymmetric carbon atom. Two stereoisomers are not possible in case of SN2. Major product of elimination is the most stable alkene, and usually most stable alkene is the one that is most substituted, and it should be the trans alkene, which is usually most stable one. SN2 and E2 are favored by strong nucleophile or a strong base. SN2 reactions are favored by primary alkyl halide. E2 reactions are favored by tertiary alkyl halide. These are some important points that you have to keep in your mind whenever you are studying SN1, SN2 reactions or E1 and E2 reaction. That's all for now. Let's move on towards some skilled activities which are given at the end of your book. There are 2 questions related to SN reactions. Now moving on towards your chapter, there is skilled activity. Among this various questions, there are 2 questions related to SN reaction. Question number 1 is, for each of the following sets, indicate which compound is more reactive to SN1 and SN2 displacement. You will have to tell among these sets which are given which compound will undergo SN1 reaction and which compound will undergo SN2 reaction. Go through the lecture again and you will get to know more crowding. If substrate is more crowded, in that case SN1 reactions will be favored. So according to that, keeping that thing in your mind, among 1 bromopropene and 2 bromopropene, we would say 2 bromopropene will undergo SN1 reaction and 1 bromopropene will undergo SN2 reaction, because there is less crowding and here it is more crowding. Tertiary butyl bromide and primary butyl bromide, among both, tertiary butyl bromide will undergo SN1 and primary butyl bromide will undergo SN2. 2 bromopropene and 3 bromopropene and 2 bromopropene, this 3 bromopropene and 2 bromopropene, this 2 bromopropene will undergo SN1 and 3 bromopropene will undergo SN2 kind of reactions. 2 bromo 2 methyl propane and 1 bromobutane, in both of these 1 bromobutane will undergo SN2 and 2 bromo 2 methyl propane, because of more crowding, will undergo SN1 kind of reaction. Question number 2 is, compare the 2 pathways SN1 and SN2 in the reaction. This is alkyl halide and hydroxyl. It is reacting in the presence of water as a solvent and alcohol is taken. ROH plus X negative is the leaving group. With regard to, you have to explain the possibility of rearrangement, whether there is any rearrangement possible, relative rates for the halogen, that is chlorine, bromine and iodine, and relative rates for R, you have to see whether it is alkyl group is methyl, ethyl or tertiary butyl, and effect on the rates by increasing the concentration of alkyl halide, OH negative and temperature. Second question is your homework. You will have to do it by yourself at your homes and send me the photograph of the answers once you have done it in your copies, and send it to me on your WhatsApp group. Okay, this is your homework. That's all for today. Go through the lecture again and again and understand the concept of SN reactions and elimination reaction, because these are very important topics in examination point of view. Thank you very much, girls. Allah Hafiz.